Well, hey everyone. So this is a new type of video I'm gonna try. Usually I just do sped up videos or whatnot. If you've watched any of mine, you'll have seen. This one I thought maybe I just chat while I craft and see what you guys think. If you enjoy this video, let me know in the comments, or if you prefer the sped up ones. So today what I'm working on is, as you can see, a very old clothespin bag. It is springtime right now, and it is my favorite time for hanging out laundry. That's the one thing I just love, hanging out my laundry. I don't know, just something about it. Like, nothing beats seeing the laundry in the wind, and it's super enjoyable. The clothes always smell so nice. And I thought, oh boy, this bag has been through the ringer, as you can see. It's only from, I believe, the dollar store. But, you know, things are tight, money's getting harder, and I thought, why not just make a new one? So, what I'm gonna do is deconstruct this one to some degree, because I want to still reuse what I can. So, I'm gonna just cut here. So we've got this part. I'm going to wash that up nicely, as you can see. Now this was, I've had it for quite a few, at least 2 summers, so it did me a while. And you know, it's pretty simple. I found, now you could probably use, I prefer and suggest probably not to use cotton. It's better to use a fabric that's made for outside, like more of an upholstery fabric, or like maybe even a shower curtain would work. So what I have is this fabric. I redid my dining room chairs with it, and it's very nice. It's a thicker, I would say, upholstery. There's the name on it, if you're interested. And what I'm gonna do is try to get a basic pattern off of this old one, which is pretty much just a rectangle that is sewn all the way around, and then they put the hole in it for the hanger and the hole to put your pins. So what I'm gonna do is, it's a pretty big piece of fabric to deal with, so push my clothespins out of the way. Let's find a good spot to work with on the fabric. I'll cut off these. I like to save these because I want to craft with them someday. I've seen some beautiful projects that people do with them. I wonder if this piece would be wide enough. I think it will be. See? Definitely. So what I'm gonna do is, for this part, I'm just gonna eyeball and cut it out. It's hard to work with a big piece of fabric sometimes, I find, so I'm gonna try to get it smaller as soon as I can. Now this might turn out to be a little bit smaller. We're gonna see. I also was thinking of adding a flap here instead of just having an open hole. Well, let's see what happens when we get started. I'm gonna fold up, sorry about that. I'll fold up the piece of fabric and put it away. Okay, so now that I've got this piece of fabric, if I line it up here, look, I'm still gonna have a few inches, like not inches, but a little bit on each side. And we will You can use scissors or a rotary cutter, like one of these. Whatever works the best for you. Like I said, I'm just swinging it, trying to have fun. Now the biggest part will be figuring out this hole. Now I could sew these already and then deal with the top, but let's see how they did theirs. So see, that's to keep the holder in, and then they had just done like a cut down, then they put this on it. I'm not a super fan of working with this like bias, I believe it's called. It can be frustrating sometimes to get it perfect, but we're gonna see what happens. I think what I'm gonna do is put this aside for a minute. I'm gonna get the little machine that I cleaned. Okay everybody, so I gave this a pretty good scrubbing. There's some spots that are just too beyond, but still, it's gonna work great for what I need. So I think what I'm gonna do is start by sewing the sides, which is pretty simple. All I'm gonna have to do is turn the fabric right sides together like this, and then I'm gonna take it over to my sewing machine and start stitching on it. Okay, so I love this little thing. If you are a sewer, highly recommend it. It's a little magnet and you can match it up with, like mine has a little measuring thing, so I can choose how much inches I want and it doesn't move while I sew. So I'm gonna put it here about 1 inch. That way I have a good sturdy length. I am using like a ivory colored thread. I'm just gonna do a basic stitch. And I'm gonna leave a bit of space. I'm gonna leave a bit of space up here. I'll probably go about there to make sure it stays. And guess what? My bobbin ran out partway through. But hey, that stuff happens. So there's my bobbin. I'm going to rethread it and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. My bobbin's rethreaded and I moved this by accident when I was doing it, but so I'm just gonna go back a bit. Up. Okay, so now those both sides are stitched. Let's move back over to my work table. Okay, so let's start by taking a peek by turning it inside out, well, right side out I should say. Now it's always good to that. That's pretty. I will iron it after so it lays more, it'll open this up better. So far, we've got the little pooch. So, now we have to figure out how we're gonna go about putting this inside and having our hole. If we look at this one, the back is solid, and then like I said, they cut a hole. So maybe we should go along that lines. It's not gonna hurt to try, because mistakes happen and you don't know unless you try something. Or like Bob Ross always said, happy little accidents, right? So this part is kind of hard. What I can do is oh, I know what I can do. I can cut it out. Don't mind the dirt. At least cut it to here on both sides. Then I can put it down. Kind of gives you a rough idea. If I cut out it's been outside so long that it's just pretty much tears. Line this up. Now we gotta assume that it's gonna go in a bit too, though. But we roughly line it. Oh my, it's tearing. That's okay. Like I said, this is kind of a anybody can do it DIY, and this is my first time trying it, so bear with me in case there's any faults. I'm gonna get my marker pen to mark it. Okay, so this here is one of my favorite little gadgets, I guess you could say. It's by Clover, and it is a chalk pen, or a chalk liner, choco liner, I guess it says, or something. And it's just a little wheel that dispenses chalk, so it can come right off easy. You just go back and forth a bit. Now, it's not going to be perfect, and like I said, it's okay. Homemade stuff isn't perfect, ever, really. There's always little things to do with it, but that adds character, right? There. So as you can see, there's a bit of a white line. So what I'm going to do is we're going to cut. Now we don't want to cut right tight because we're going to want to turn it in. I think instead of me adding the bias, I'm going to try to like turn it in and sew it a couple times to make an edge, but let's see what happens. So I'm going to cut around. I'm just eyeballing it. Like I said, it's for my own use. If I was making these to sell, I would be a lot more particular probably about it. But this is just for my own. And it's my first one. So you always, you know, give yourself a little leeway with your first one. You're experimenting. So what I'm probably gonna do is try to turn it in twice. So like I said, you're gonna turn it in and then you're gonna roll it again, so you have like no unfinished edges showing, and I'm gonna try to do that around it. Now the best way to do this most likely is to iron it to set it, so I'm gonna set up my iron and give it a try. Okay, please don't mind my ironing board. I got it secondhand this summer because my other one was no good anymore. So, and this one's got a few, I guess, water stains on it. I'm gonna turn it back around now. back inside out. While I'm thinking about it, sometimes they suggest you clip your corners a bit. It makes it better. I don't know, but they say it sometimes makes it lay flatter better. So while I'm at it, I'm going to iron the whole thing. Try to get some nice flat. Okay, so this is where it gets a little tricky sometimes. So I'm gonna try my best. Now what you can do when you're around corners and things sometimes is put little snips. Don't want them too deep, but just a few little snips here and there. Kind of makes it into sections that are easier to work with a bit. So then I'm going to do is I'm going to press down the ones. Whew. Be careful. Some irons can get very hot. Just slowly work my way around. Today we went to the library and watched a movie. It was the new Disney's Wish movie, and I must say it was really cute. It had some very beautiful songs in it, some good meaning. The first song, like, it kind of hit home because it was like talking about protecting wishes and things, and it's like, oh, that's kind of like protecting your kids though and their hopes and dreams, and that you'll always be there to help them. And it felt like a great song. Okay. Just a second. So, see how it kind of gives you a raw edge though? So that's why if we turn it in again, it's gonna like take away that raw edge a bit. Now, it is a bit harder to do sometimes, but we're gonna give it a try. Seems to be going okay. Now, I can already tell that my circle is not perfectly centered, but you know what? We're gonna work with it. Like I said, this is my first one, and this one is just for me, so I'm not as worried. If I was making these to sell, like I said, I'd put a bit more care and effort into them, because you know, you want them to be perfect, as well, as close to perfect as you can be when you're selling them to, you know, people. Money is hard to come by these days, especially like depending on where you live right now. And Canada is going through some stuff, so, you know, save ourselves a little bit when we can, and when somebody does buy something from you, you know that they understand that you put a lot of work into it, and you understand it's hard to come by money. So, we'll flatten this out. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes. It's stiffer fabric, so it doesn't like to... I know it's not a big edge. You could have made it bigger maybe. Like, that's actually pretty small, but it's perfect feeling that my hand will fit in there, hopefully. But we're gonna find out, right? I'm gonna take it over to the sewing machine now and sew that down. So we got to make sure, I'm gonna take my table off, I think, for this part. Make sure that you don't catch the back piece of fabric. You just want to get, you just want to get this part. And that could be a little difficult, but we're gonna try and see what happens. Sorry for the shaky camera. Like I said, it's a small piece of fabric, but try your best. To readjust it a couple times, and there's some spots where it gets right side out again. Sorry, I'm not seeing much of this. Back. So you see, since I clipped the corners, they come out a bit more better, I find. But that could just be me. So, as you can see, now we've got a hole. And I didn't use the bias tape, which saves me some. Now you could use a nice color that matches your fabric. You could do a lot of options with this. Now, the figuring out how to, they kind of had theirs connected here, right? They had the bar in, and then this connected, was it the back? This is the fun part, figuring all this stuff out. I think these were connected, and these were connected, and this. I had a piece of sewing there to probably keep it up at the top. Should have left a little bit more room, but it does seem to fit fairly well. So what I think I'm going to have to do is sew it inside out again. There's a lot of steps sometimes to making these things. What I think I'm going to have to do is sew one of the ends. Maybe not right till the end though. Let's see. Trial and error. Let's see what happens. So we stop there. Probably want it to go in a bit so it's more sturdy. Now, this here, so I think I'm gonna have to wrench it a bit. But I also need to make sure. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, so I relooked, and yeah, so it's just literally went across the top, but the peak parts did touch on theirs. So I'm gonna have to put a bit of a bevel, like there's gonna be a bit of gathering. I didn't leave myself leeway with this side as much. I might actually have to do is not get it too close. Let's see what happens if I just sew it across. Thank you for bearing with me, and I'm sorry. It's not the perfect, but it shows you, I guess, what it's like behind DIY. A lot of trial and error. That's a big gap though. Happens if I come straight across. Now you can always undo your stitches, which is awesome. So this is what I got. Now it doesn't maybe look perfect at the top because of it not being as tight as it was on the original. Unopened seam, but I might be able to fix that also. It kind of looks like a shirt. Will this fit there? Yeah, it does fit. Look at that. Now this is really visible, but you know, it's not that bad. But I do want to fix taken it and I've rolled it. Now I'm just going to test this to see if this works. I could have sewed it. It might have been better. We're going to see what happens. Like you want to clip that's fine, but you don't want to clip. Okay, so the bar is more visible this way. I don't know how. They had it not as visible as mine. But it actually seems like it would work quite well. What I can do is put a few stitches here to make sure that that doesn't fall like they had done. Now you could stitch that by hand, or you could do it on the machine. I'm going to do mine on the machine. My bobbin's out again. Sorry, I'm always hitting the camera. Off all our extra little strings. There's always so many extra little strings to cut. Now you could iron it again if you want. You could do anything. Suggestions is if you're making your own, maybe make the hole a little bigger, but maybe a bit more measurements than what I did, so that you do get that coverage on the bar. But I really don't mind. And I've got the hole here. So the test, I guess, would be to see if it holds. And I kind of like it with a little bit of a smaller hole because it's less likely for the pins to fall out, and they were. And it seems to hold quite a few pins. So, I guess the true test will be to hang it up outside and see how it does. But I'm pretty proud of it from going from this old beat up one to this one, which is nice, it's colorful, it's fresh. Let's hang it up outside and see how it does. And it fits perfectly on my machine. Some tips. I always recommend cleaning your clothesline after winter, just a cloth and some Mr. Clean. I also highly recommend these, or you can even get umbrella versions of them, like this. I hot glue gun mine together because I find they fall apart, but you can hang them on your clothesline too. So I also have one of these racks because during the winter I do hang up my laundry sometimes inside. And I like to bring it out sometimes for the kids' clothes, especially if my daughter wants to help me hang out clothes. She can easily reach that compared to the clothesline. And another tip I do is I wash my clothes and then I sort it. I know it's a little funny maybe, but I like to bring it up out of the washing machine and sort all the big clothes, all the kids' clothes, all the underwears and things. And that way, when I hang, it's big clothes at the end of the clothesline all the way to the small. And I like these for socks and underwear and whatnot, because that way you can put them lower, or if it's all together, especially if you're in the middle of town, people don't see, you know, you might not want your underwear out in the clothesline for everybody to see. So you can either hang them on here, which is lower and they can't see, or sometimes I'll put them up on the blue umbrella, but I'll put the, like these, I'll put the underwears in the middle, and then I'll put the socks around the outside, so it kind of covers them up, so not everybody's looking at your undergarments. But yeah, so I'm pretty proud of my little clothespin bag. I can easily reach in and take out the clothespins as I need them. It works good. I hope you enjoyed crafting with me, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye, thanks for watching.